Watch your fat fucking mouth.
Hey, I didn't say nothing yet. Not for nothing, T. It's 10 dimes on the table, no? Good, do an impression with cancer in your throat. Stupid ass. How are you, folks? Great to be here. We got a packed show. I don't know. I was trying to, the top story, obviously, the guy, Trump, guns in the car in Nevada, wherever it was. But it kept evolving. And like a good news person, I was up like Andy Rooney, following the story. I got a ton of shit, so I ain't got time to bullshit. Who's bothering me? My stupid agent. Yeah, I got a show, silly. It was Gay William. I want to talk college football, all kinds of sports, but we don't have time for that. Let's get, why don't I turn this on? I do that because if I turn it on early, it shits the bed on us 3 minutes into the show. As you know, these are Tandy products, folks. Top story, not again, is the headline. Local cops arrested an armed man outside a Donald Trump rally in California Saturday, and the local sheriff has doubled down on claims that a third assassination attempt was prevented, even though he let the suspect walk after posting a meager bail for gun charges. I quote the sheriff, "I truly do believe we prevented another assassination attempt." Riverside County Sheriff Chad Bianco told reporters Sunday, a day after suspect Vem Miller was arrested at a checkpoint outside Trump's rally in Coachella Valley. Do you believe this? I mean, it's getting crazy.
What the hell's going on out here?
Miller was caught at a police checkpoint allegedly trying to enter a rally with a phony press pass. I'm reading the initial story because it's changed a bunch. But when cops noticed his car was unregistered, this is where, the guy, Vem's a little dumb. They searched the vehicle and discovered a cache of fake passports and driver's licenses, along with a shotgun, a loaded handgun, and a high-capacity magazine.
Don't you move, you motherfucker! I'll blow your brains out!
Kind of reason for suspicion, no? He was soon booked on weapons charges and then sprung after posting $5,000 bail, but the sheriff turned around and told the Riverside Press Enterprise that his department had all but saved Trump's life. Federal agencies, however, appear to disagree. I love how the person who wrote the article is sort of siding with the feds. Yeah. Right? The Secret Service believes it's unlikely Miller was attempting to assassinate the president, and he was out deer hunting. In pheasant hunting, right there. Now, and the FBI is not investigating it as such, sources told the Post, who noted Miller is a member of an anti-government far-right group. I love the term far-right, by the way. I've never heard far-left in any fucking article since I started following politics 40 years ago. Never heard an author called a liberal author, a liberal journalist, a far-left webs. Never, 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 other than maybe once by Fox. An anti-government far-right group, and probably had the weapons for personal defense alone. Oh, now the person writing is like, he had to just reverse the races or whatever the fuck, reverse the candidates. He reportedly asked for a lawyer after the FBI tried to interview him, and he briefly told reporters claims that he was an assassin was complete bullshit.
Who gives a fuck what you think?
Well, he might have had a point. Hold on. But the sheriff stood by his initial assessment while speaking to the press on Sunday. And here's the sheriff speaking to the press, and a dumb lady. You got to listen to this question. Women, I don't. Anyways, listen to the naivete of the ignorance of the question. Go ahead.
Given everything that's happened leading up to in this presidential campaign so far, it's just quite a dramatic statement to make. Given what we've seen so far,
a dramatic statement for me to make.
Well, yes. I guess, but there wasn't any.
So this is what I'm glad of. This is what I am very glad of.
This woman is saying, first of all, she can't hide her bias. Yeah. She's upset that he made an appointment, made a statement saying that he might have stopped the third assassination attempt. You can hear it in her voice. You know what I mean? In other words, translation. This was not a third attempt. You're just trying to What he should have said, dramatic statement, she said, yeah, because of what's happened in the past to Trump is what she's saying. And he should have said, that's exactly why what I said isn't a dramatic statement. Do you understand? After 2 attempts on his life, I'm taking 1,000% precautions. What, I'm not supposed to do that? A guy's got an unregistered car, guns and shit in his car, fake passports. and I have the nerve to think maybe I stopped an assassination attempt? You stupid ass. I cleaned that up. I was going to drop the B word, but that offends people at YouTube. Oh, I hate you sisters. And I do know them. So that's the question from that nitwit.
It's a sick question. You're
That's what he should have said.
And I'm not that sick that I'm going to answer.
That's what he should have said. I love what he says here. Oh, I'm sorry. Huh?
I know that the presence that we had at the rally with deputies, with snipers, with counter snipers, and Secret Service snipers and counter snipers, I am glad that we're not talking about this after we shot him. We get to talk about it before, and no matter what, it's all going to be speculation about what his intentions were getting there. What we do know is he showed up with multiple passports with different names, an unregistered vehicle
you're just
with
being
fake
dramatic.
license plate, and loaded firearms.
Oh, come on. You're blowing it out of proportion.
If you're asking me right now, I probably did have deputies that prevented the third assassination attempt. If we...
He went on to say, perfect. If we are at that politically fucking the articles, AI. He said, if we are that politically lost, that we have lost sight of common sense and reality and reason, that would be all male traits, by the that we can't say, holy crap, what did he show up with all that stuff for? And I'm going to be accused of being dramatic. He said, we have a serious problem in this country because this is common sense and reason. No offense, chick reporter. Your gender is not known for that, honestly. I don't want to generalize, but it's true. She's running on emotion. She's more upset that somebody, might make Trump a sympathetic character. Anyways, really sickening. So I wake up this morning, and there's more breaking news on the guy who they pulled in, Vem Miller. Vem Miller, 49 years old, and as soon as I saw his face, I said,
Who the fuck are you? Are you writing a book? Who the fuck are you?
And I said, this guy ain't playing. Looks like John Smoltz doing a podcast.
Talking about pitching.
Yeah, exactly.
And pitching.
And pitching. Oh. Smoltzy, I love you, man. You were a Hall of Famer with the Braves. You even pitched for the Red Sox. But mother of God, please let the broadcast breathe. We don't need to know everything going through the pitch. You're making it a mental exercise, and you couldn't do that. If all that had to go through your head, never mind. You couldn't physically perform on a baseball field. He's like every other, even NFL brought former players. This goes across the board. Hockey players now, even in the NHL, when they do color commentary, they want you to think what they did was equal to brain surgery. Honest to God. Sorry, fellas. Vem Miller, 49, who is personally known to the National Pulse and has interviewed the National Pulse's editor-in-chief. I don't know. Oh, Raheem Kassim, I do know because he's been on Crowder's show. That guy's like super smart. Asserted in a lengthy video statement that he is a dedicated Trump supporter who has never fired a gun. This guy's never fired a gun. Well, you got a lot of guns. He goes, I mean at somebody. That's what he should have. Miller, a registered Republican who has supported Trump since 2018 and attended numerous pro-Trump and pro-MAGA events, he's probably casing the joint, was detained on weapons charges in the vicinity of Trump's rally in Coachella Valley. Later released on $5,000 bail, which to me is a little questionable. The Riverside County Sheriff's Office alleged Miller was in possession of firearms at the event. Miller, a longstanding independent news reporter, maintains he carries a gun due to past death threats related to his work with America Happens Network. All the shit I've never heard of. Yeah. But that doesn't mean it doesn't exist and it's not pro-Trump. A media outlet he established to challenge censorship. I'm all for that. Miller recently released a documentary about the Bundy Ranch and reports about the still unresolved Vegas mass shooting. This is him, I quote, I have always transported my firearms in my truck for my safety. Miller explained, also pointing to his work as a local Trump caucus captain. He said the firearms had never been used. Miller runs a media platform called America Happens, which has also featured work from anti-big pharma activists and doctors, as well as having previously met President Trump and members of the Trump family. What?
I'm going to find out what the hell happened here.
By the way, the minute the story broke, I went on to Twitter and put, remember kids, something like this. But it's MAGA and Trump who were the homegrown terrorists and the threat to democracy. And I don't read the comments because I don't want to hear what most of you ignorant fucks have to say replying to me. So I didn't read it. I'm sure I got blowback on that after this guy came out, but I'll stick by my guns and go, where was I wrong? At that point, that sheriff, going on the information he had every right to defend what he did, his actions. And it wasn't dramatic. And it still was the right thing to do. So kiss my ass for people who I don't even know if you're mad at me. It's called a proactive. It's called, as Tony Soprano said near the end of the run in one of the episodes, they were in a war with another family. A retaliation, counter-retaliation. Alongside weapons-related accusations, Miller refuted claims that he possessed counterfeit identification documents. He clarified that variations in his documentation were attributed to his Armenian heritage. Miller criticized Sheriff Chad Bianco for labeling him as part of the sovereign citizens movement, dismissing these assertions as nonsensical. Both the Secret Service and the FBI have not pursued federal charges against Miller, and they do not consider him a threat in terms of assassination plot. Despite the serious allegations, Miller expressed frustration over being associated with an unspecified anti-government group challenging authorities to identify him. Don't forget the authorities. Using that term authorities, I don't have to talk about the locals or the feds, because the feds would leak this out there, making him to seem like a right-wing nut. So keep your fucking radar up at all times. Here he is. This thing was 17 minutes. I just took like a minute and a half of him defending himself. This is Van Miller, the guy.
And probably the reason that God put me in that situation.
God put him in that situation.
In order to be able to expose really what's going on.
Maybe.
And so,
Allah Akbar.
Every time I've gone to a Nevada rally and notified the police, it's been a non-issue. They've thanked me for the courtesy of notifying them. They've said, obviously, you can't take your firearms. I wouldn't even think of doing such a stupid thing. And they've been fine. They've been fine. And the critical mistake I made is, I guess, forgetting the location that I was in California. So
I just pooped in the corner.
I drive up with my special entry pass, and by the way, they're saying I had a counterfeit pass. That's a bunch of nonsense.
Well, it said Six Flags on it.
Special entry pass directed to me, sent directly to me by officials within the Republican Party of Nevada. I was an actual invitee to that event. So as I'm driving, there's an area where you enter the parking lot after you pass a sheriff. I pull up to the sheriff. I say, I should take that back. I'm not 100% sure he was a sheriff. He was wearing a sheriff vest.
My wife telling a story.
But a lot
Doesn't
of those
matter.
Individuals were, and
move it along, Vem.
Is that not everybody there was a sheriff? They were
Ever hear a Vem diagram?
With the sheriff's department.
It's Vem.
And so
folks.
I drive up to this sheriff.
I go, hey, fuckface.
And I tell him,
look at my gun.
That, in full transparency, I just want to let you know in the back of my truck, I got, 2 lawful firearms, purchased lawfully, registered lawfully, and I'm just letting you know that that's back there as a courtesy, which is a courtesy that I always do. That police officer asks me to pull over, so I pull over, and just so everybody's clear out there, it's not like they found that I had firearms or did an investigation, blah, blah, blah. No. The body cams and the evidence will expose and reveal that I myself drove up to the sheriff and gave him the common courtesy and respect of letting him know about the firearms I had in the back of my truck.
Okay.
And probably the reason...
That's enough. I think we get the point. And again, now Vem, let me talk to you, Vem. Even though if you were invited by, you had the pet, whatever.
Read the room.
Read the room. Well said. Read the fucking rally. You're not going to be threatened. Your life's not going to be threatened, I don't think, at a Trump rally. I'm just saying, Vem, you should understand the sheriff and his aides who pulled you over doing their job. Maybe he says that. I wasn't going to sit through the 17 minutes. I got other things to do, okay? Got a pork roast in the slow cooker. Anyways, so, you know, he's at a little bit of fault, but sorry, the sheriff was not wrong in not being dramatic. That's all I have to say to that chick journalist. Speaking of chick journalists, let's move on to Martha Raddatz, bitch slapped by J.D. Vance. J.D. Vance, let me tell you something. He's becoming a darling, not just to people who like Trump. There's moderate Democrats. I read a lot of stuff, how they love how he handles himself. It's a perfect match. I can't tell you how one-sided this election should be. Between him being unbelievable, making their pick for VP look like the fucking retard he is, and we all know what a retard she is, and Trump's already been a great president, but you want me to believe that she's just as capable. And watch Martha Raddatz, who can't hide her. This to me, this exchange, watch how he handles it, and it just shows the bias and the sickness. This old friggin' mutt. Watch J.D. Vance humiliate this dried up, ignorant fucking. That's her. Go ahead.
The incidents were limited to a handful of apartment complexes, and the mayor said our dedicated police officers have acted on those concerns. A handful of problems.
Pause. So they're talking about the Venezuelan gangs taking over the apartment complexes in the Denver area. And her argument is that Trump was out there saying, you know, it's happening all over the place and exaggerating. And her argument is it was just a few. Just let that sink in for a second. And she's a journalist and has been, probably an award-winning one for the last, according to her face, 111 years. Just let that sink in, that fucking logic and that reasoning. And it's a fastball down the middle for an expert like Mr. Vance. Watch Vance handle this.
Martha, do you hear yourself? Only a handful of apartment complexes in America were taken over by Venezuelan gangs, and Donald Trump is the problem and not Kamala Harris's open border? Americans are so fed up with what's going on, and they have every right to be. And I really find this exchange, Martha, sort of interesting because you seem to be more focused with nitpicking everything that Donald Trump has said, rather than acknowledging that apartment complexes in the United States of America are being taken over by violent gangs. I worry so much more about that problem than anything else here. We've got to get American communities in a safe space again. And unfortunately, when you let people in by the millions, most of whom are unvetted, most of whom you don't know who they really are, you're going to have problems like this. Kamala Harris, 94 executive orders that undid Donald Trump's successful border policies. We knew this stuff would happen. They bragged about opening the border, and now we have the consequences, and we're living with it. We can do so much better, but frankly, we're not going to do better, Martha, unless Donald Trump calls this stuff out. I'm glad that he did.
Yeah, perfect. Oh, my God. Cut to her, they're taking off on a spine board. Got a neck brace, like she just got fucking helmet-to-helmet contact. Can you imagine calling yourself a journalist, and just by nature, when you're a journalist, you're supposed to keep an eye on the government? And she's going, but only a few complexes were taken over by violent gang members from another country. So he's fucking wrong. Think about how ignorant, and that sums up the left. That's how stupid most of you are. Fuck off. Hi. Now, build some egg salad recipes. And then someone, it is. It's a good Jew food, egg salad. Listen to this. I got to bring up another Soprano thing. They're having a sit down outside at a golf club, and Carmine, who's like the oldest guy there, is eating an egg salad sandwich, and he has a heart attack. Can you think of any food grosser in your mouth when you have to give somebody CPR? Do you understand that was a choice by the writers? They're like, what would be really gross? Fucking egg salad. Nobody helped them. It was so funny. Oh, Martha Raditz. Oh, you're a dried up catcher's mitt. And then somebody posted this, just some random person. This exchange perfectly encapsulates why I'll be voting for Trump this election, the first Republican I've ever voted for. What? A lot of people who saw that, I would think, would have that reaction. Anyways, boys and girls, for those of you on Mug Club, stick around for the second half of this delicious show. The rest of you, go to nickdip.com and sign up for Mug Club. Could you? If you do that, you'll get the rest of my show. Steven Crowder's incredible whole show, which, again, his show, every once in a while, Alex Jones is on there. Heavy-hitting news breaks because they have an undercover team. And you got Brian Callen has his show on that network. It's well worth the money. So sign up for Mug Club. And also click on the tour date at nickdip.com. You'll see that November 9th, which is, what are we, almost halfway through October, Dallas? Heading to November 9th at light speed. I'll be at the Bridgeview Center Theater in Ottumwa, Iowa, home of Radar O'Reilly. So I hope to see you guys there. Also, in the second half of my show, we're going to do a little ode to Lee Priestley, who is a world-known bodybuilder and an Australian, and maybe my favorite fan. Just funny as he is muscular. How about that? I'll show you a clip that he sent to me personally. It just has me howling, and it has a lot of C words in it, but it'll be on the second half of the show, so you can kiss my grits, YouTube, if you're still watching. I don't know how it works. Anyways, also I'll tell you about a university that's anti-woke, starting in all places, the most woke place on the planet, Austin, Texas. But it's a bunch of rich fellas who have had enough of politically correct crap. They're going to start their own college. All right, stick around for that.
Hi, good night, everybody.